Creatures of Italian folklore. The history of Italian folklore has its roots in different cultural traditions that have left cultural legacies after their passage. Buffardello. The Buffardello is an elf, present in the popular tradition of the province of Lucca and Massa Carrara. The Buffardello is generally described as a small anthropomorphic being dressed in red clothing. Caddis birds. In Sardinian folklore, the caddis birds, green horses, were mythical creatures, which appeared in the form of small horses with green fur. They were very rare and very difficult to spot. Impossible to tame, they have never been mounted by anyone. Catoblepas. The catoblepas is a legendary creature described by Pliny the Elder and Claudius Aeliano. In ancient Greek and Roman mythology, it was an African quadruped, depicted with his heavy head always lowered to the ground. Pomponius Mela reprises Pliny the Elder's account but adds that the creature is quiet and has not been known to physically harm anyone. According to Timotheus of Gaza, the catoblepas releases fire from its nostrils. Kogas or Bruxus. The Kogas or Bruxus, in Sardinian traditions, are witches with the appearance of an old woman, having the ability to assume any shape and size, both animal and vegetable or even of people. During the night, in groups, they sneaked into the houses killing male babies. To protect their children, the parents placed a cane rod and a blessed rosary on the baby's cradle. When the witches arrived next to the cradle, they began to count the beads of the rosary, without ever being able to count them all before dawn. When they were forced to flee so as not to be hit by the sunlight, the Kogas looked like old women, but they recognized each other mainly because they had a small piece of tail since they were born and could take on any shape. The confined. Confined or confined souls are mythical creatures widespread in the popular traditions of northeastern Lombardy. They were the souls of unsatisfied dead people, who had been sent into exile through an exorcism, in such a way that they could not harm the living. Dipsa. The dipsa is a tiny, extremely venomous snake found in medieval bestiaries. It was said to be so poisonous that its victims would die before they became aware that they had been bitten. Urchitu. Subo or Urchitu is a legendary creature of Sardinian folk tradition. According to local legends, a man who has committed a serious crime can be transformed by a spell, during the nights of the full moon, into a white ox with two large steel-coated horns, which wander the streets of the town, escorted from a mob of devils. Generally, the Urchitu automatically regained his human form at dawn, but according to other versions, for this to happen he had to roll around in front of 3 churches or in front of a cemetery. It seems that this rite was a kind of tribute to the divinity, so that it would allow the damned to resume human form. His large steel horns must be cut to free the victim from the spell. Faun. The faun is a legendary creature that is half human and half goat that appears in Greek and Roman mythology. Fauns are bipedal beings having the horns, legs, and tail of a goat and the head, torso, and arms of a human, and are sometimes represented with pointed ears. They are more usually associated with the satyrs of Greek mythology than the fauns of Roman mythology. These legendary creatures derived their appearance from the satyrs, shaped as the Greek pantheon's deity Pan. They were emblems of peace and fertility, and their ruler, Silenus, was a Greek mythological minor deity. Ancient Roman mythology also included a divinity named Faunus, who was commonly linked with magical forests, as well as the Greek god Pan and goddess Fauna, who were goat people. Gotakaragna. In the folklore of Lombardy, the Gotakaragna is a monstrous animal analogous to the Mamon cat, which infests the dark alleys of the cities. She looks like a big red cat, with shaggy fur and angry eyes, who attack children to steal their souls. Gatomamon. The Gatomamon or Gatomamoni is a magical creature of popular tradition, with the characteristics of a huge terrifying-looking cat. Its name derives from the encounter of the term cat, animal in the Middle Ages associated with the devil with Maimun, which in Arabic means monkey or mammon. a word with an uncertain etymology which in Aramaic is an attribute of the devil. This cat frightened the grazing herds and had demonic movements and expressions. In other descriptions, it has a protective function and is a positive spirit, immune to the harmful effects of the spells of other spirits. According to some studies, the tradition of the mammon cat has its roots in the Phoenician or Egyptian civilization. The god Maimon, or the sacred cats of the ancient Egyptian traditions, symbols of fertility and linked to the god Ammon. With the advent of Christianity, these ancient pagan rituals were first demonized and then confined to the carnival, and their symbols transformed into masks. The mammon cat appears frequently in traditional Italian fairy tales, for example in the Pentamorone by Giambattista Basile, and is often mentioned to frighten children. Gigot. The gigot in Lombard Alpine folklore traditions, a monster of enormous proportions, similar to a goat or a chamois, with very long hair. It is a vegetarian animal, but it sometimes attacks lone travelers or hikers. Nfro. The Nfro or Nfru is, in the popular culture of Umbria, a legendary creature that usually lives in groups near the Marmari waterfall and along the Nera river between the waterfall and the end of the Valnerina. The Nfro is a sort of small elf or gnome who enjoys bothering travelers with little jokes or teasing. Griffin. The griffin is a legendary creature with the body of a lion and the head of an eagle. The greater frequency of representation of this hybrid creature is found in Minoan, Mycenaean and Greek art, however. There are some archetypal figures in various civilizations of the Mediterranean and Middle East Asia. The griffin was in ancient times a symbol of divine power and a guardian of divinity. It was used in medieval Christianity as a symbol of Jesus Christ, who is both human and divine. The Loro. The Loro, Lorietto, or Scazamuridoru is a mischievous elf from southern Italian folklore. These creatures lived in the woods or within the domestic walls of country houses, barns, or in the city. According to some legends, Loro was the spirit of an unbaptized child. The vision of one of them would generate a kind of infinite terror. The benign Loro helped farmers in rural work, for example by looking after animals at night and, in some cases, milking or grooming them or giving gold coins or keeping wild animals away from the fields. The malignant Loro, on the other hand, could torment their victims, in some cases even sitting on people's chests during sleep, making them lose their breath. In some cases, they inextricably intertwined the manes of horses. The only solution was to cut the mane to save the animal's life.